humanity's first swipe right moment, this wasn't just a match made in heaven. It was literally a match that made us realize heaven could wait while we cooked up a storm down here. This wasn't just a match made in heaven. It was literally a match that made us realize heaven could wait while we cooked up a storm down here. Discovered more than 1,000,000 years ago, fire was the original light bulb moment. Except it was an actual fire and not just a metaphorical bulb lighting up over our ancestors' heads. Imagine the scene. A bunch of early humans chilling in the cave, shivering in the dark, gnawing on raw mammoth meat, when suddenly, lightning strikes a nearby tree. Instead of running away screaming, "The sky is angry!" One curious hominid thought, "Hey, that looks warm. Let's poke it." And thus, fire was invited into the cave. Fire was the first DIY project gone right. It gave us warmth, protection from nighttime predators, because even saber-toothed tigers think twice before attacking a group of hominids having a barbecue. And the ability to cook, which not only made food tastier, but also a lot less likely to kill you with bacteria. Cooking with fire was the original farm-to-table experience, minus the farm and the table. So the next time you're roasting marshmallows or lighting a candle, give a little nod to our ancient ancestors. They might not have known it at the time, but when they tamed those first flames, they lit the fuse on human progress. And all it took was a bit of curiosity and perhaps the prehistoric equivalent of, "Hold my fermented berry juice, I got this." Fire, ladies and gentlemen, the original spark that lit the path of civilization. Now, who's up for some s'mores? Let's dive into the world of sewage systems, the underground champions of civilization. Yes, you heard that right. Before you wrinkle your nose and say "you," consider this. Without sewage systems, life would be, well, pretty stinky. Back in the day, running water meant you were either chasing a river or you had a leaky bucket. Then, some genius in ancient Mesopotamia thought, what if we could make the dirty water go away on purpose? And so the sewage system was born, giving us the first unsung hero of urban planning. These subterranean mazes were the ancient world's version of hitting the delete button on waste. The Romans took it up a notch with their aqueducts, basically the luxury highways of water, moving it from point A to point B with the kind of engineering swagger that said, "Look at us, we can build a city and keep it clean." Modern sewage systems are the descendants of these ancient innovations, proving that a good idea can indeed stand the test of time. But why are sewage systems so important, aside from the obvious olfactory benefits? Well, they're the cornerstone of public health. Before sewage systems became mainstream, diseases would spread faster than a rumor in a small town. Cholera and typhoid fevers were the uninvited guests at many a medieval party thanks to contaminated water. Today, our modern sewage systems are like the silent guardians of our cities, tirelessly working 24/7 to ensure that our morning routines don't turn into public health crises. So, the next time you flush the toilet, spare a thought for the marvel of engineering that whisks away your problems. Sewage systems may not be the topic of polite conversation, but they're definitely a sign that humanity got something right. After all, civilization is built on many things, but being able to flush and forget might just be the foundation. Ah, the wheel! Humanity's favorite round object before pizza came along. Imagine the scene. A bunch of prehistoric folks are trying to move their newly acquired 2-ton granite countertop because even Stone Age people needed an island in their kitchen, when suddenly someone drops a round scone. As it rolls away, a light bulb, well, more like a flickering torch, goes off above their heads. The invention of the wheel was the moment humanity decided, walking is great, but have you tried rolling? It's hard to overstate the wheel's impact. Before the wheel, the idea of a road trip involved a lot of heavy lifting and possibly a disgruntled woolly mammoth. From carts to chariots, the wheel transformed transportation. It wasn't just about getting from A to B anymore. It was about getting there without throwing out your back. The wheel gave us the freedom to explore, trade, and essentially shrink the world, making distant lands and cultures accessible. But let's not forget the wheel's other contributions. It turned potters into artists and grain into flour. It even played a role in entertainment because, let's face it, without wheels, roller coasters would just be coasters. Fast forward a few millennia, and wheels are everywhere, in forms the inventors could never have imagined. From the wheels on your car to the ones in your watch, they keep our world moving smoothly. The wheel even made its way to Mars, proving that humanity's love for rolling knows no bounds. So the next time you see a wheel, take a moment to appreciate this circle of genius. It started as a simple idea, but ended up steering the course of human history. And to think it all might have started with a runaway scone. Wheels, ladies and gentlemen, not just for pizza anymore. Let's talk about medicine, humanity's answer to the question, to be or not to be, sick. Before medicine, the best health advice was probably to cross your fingers and hope your body was more stubborn than whatever was trying to kill you. The history of medicine is like a wild roller coaster through time, complete with ups, downs, and a few questionable loops. In the early days, medicine was a mix of herbal brews and the medical equivalent of throwing darts in the dark. Got a headache? Try some willow bark. A stomachache? How about a nice crunchy beetle? It was part alchemy, part guesswork, and part sheer luck. But from these humble and often bizarre beginnings, the foundation of modern medicine was laid. Fast forward through centuries of trial, error, and the occasional eureka moment, and we've arrived at an era where medicine can do things that would make our ancestors accuse us of witchcraft. We've got pills smaller than a breadcrumb that can wage war on bacteria, surgeries that can be performed through incisions no bigger than a keyhole, and vaccines that protect us from diseases that once wiped out entire populations. The journey of medicine is a testament to human curiosity and our refusal to take fatal for an answer. It's about looking at a deadly virus and saying, "Not today, pal." It's the story of how we went from rubbing two sticks together to produce fire, to rubbing two brain cells together to produce breakthroughs that light up the darkness of disease. So here's to medicine. The real magic potion, brewed from the cauldron of science, stirred with the spoon of innovation, and occasionally sprinkled with the salt of, well, that was an unexpected side effect. It's the art of healing, the science of saving, and the practice of poking the unknown with a very sterilized stick. Here's to not dying from sneezing, folks! Cheers! Welcome to the electrifying world of ecological energy production, where we turn Mother Nature's fury into our favorite party trick, electricity. Back in the day, if you wanted power, you had to burn something, like coal or oil. It was all very fire bad, tree pretty, except we got it backward and the trees ended up on the endangered list. Then came the eco-warriors of energy, armed with solar panels, wind turbines, and the occasional hydroelectric dam. They looked at the sun and thought, that's not just a giant ball of fire in the sky, that's a giant ball of free energy. And when they saw the wind blowing leaves around, they didn't just see an untidy garden. They saw untapped potential swirling in the breeze. Solar power is essentially harvesting the sun's glow to power our gadgets, homes, and even cars. It's like planting a garden in your roof, but instead of tomatoes, you get electricity. And wind power? That's using nature's breath to spin turbines that are taller than a brontosaurus on stilts. These turbines might look like they're just waving at the clouds, but they're actually busy powering cities. Hydroelectric power is the elder statesman of ecological energy, using water to generate power. It's like convincing gravity to do us a favor every time it pulls water downstream. And let's not forget about geothermal energy, which is basically Earth saying, "I've got a fever," and us using that heat to keep our homes cozy and our baths hot. The beauty of ecological energy production isn't just in the clean power it generates, but in the creativity it inspires. We're turning the planet's natural phenomena into a renewable feast of energy, proving that with a little ingenuity, even the wind and the sun can be put on the utility payroll. So hats off to ecological energy production, the real-life cheat code that lets us power up with a clear conscience, keeping the lights on without sending Mother Nature the bill. It's the ultimate win-win where we get to save the planet and charge our phones at the same time. Now, if only we could find a way to harness the energy of toddlers. Ah, the engine. Mankind's mighty muscle, turning raw energy into the power to do, well, everything. Before engines, if you wanted to move something heavy, you had to eat your Wheaties and hope for a strong backwind. Then along came the engine, and suddenly we're zipping around like the world is our personal racetrack. The story of the engine starts with steam, a kind of let's boil water and see what happens moment that turned into the Industrial Revolution. It was like discovering a party trick that could power factories, trains, and eventually ships. Steam engines were the heavy lifters of their time, but they were also as subtle as a brick through a window, loud, dirty, and smelling vaguely of soot and success. Enter the internal combustion engine, a more refined party guest that ran on gasoline and didn't leave soot on your curtains. It was smaller, stronger, and ready to take personal transportation to the next level. Cars, motorcycles, and even airplanes started popping up, turning the world into a much smaller place where you could have breakfast in New York and dinner in Paris, if you didn't mind the jet lag. But humanity's need for speed and power didn't stop there. We developed jet engines, rocket engines, and even engines that could send us to the moon. It's like we looked at the laws of physics, chuckled, and said, "Hold my beer." Engines have become so integral to our lives that it's easy to forget the marvel they represent. Every time you start your car, You're harnessing a series of controlled explosions to get to the grocery store. That's not just technology. That's a magic trick we've all learned to take for granted. So here's to the engine, the workhorse of human progress, the heart of our machines, and the unsung hero that keeps our world moving. Whether it's getting us to work or sending us into space, the engine is the beat to our modern life's rhythm. And to think it all started with Steam. Welcome to the internet, humanity's collective brainchild where cat videos are cultural assets, and you can go from researching quantum physics to watching a how-to-bake bread tutorial in less than 3 clicks. It's the ultimate rabbit hole, a digital wonderland where every day is a Mad Hatter's tea party and everyone's invited. Once upon a time, surfing meant catching waves at the beach, and cookies were just delicious treats. Then the internet arrived, and suddenly, surfing became something you did in your pajamas, and cookies started tracking your every move online. It's a place where you can be anyone, learn anything, and yes, buy everything from a rare 18th century artifact to a box of cereal. The internet started as a way for researchers to procrastinate, share important information. It quickly grew into a vast network of computers, connecting people across the globe faster than you can say, dial-up. Remember dial-up? That screechy modem sound was the anthem of the 90s, signaling your leap from the physical world into the boundless realms of cyberspace. Now the internet is like the air we breathe. Essential, omnipresent, and full of pollutants. Hello, trolls. It's where revolutions start, movements grow, and memes die valiant deaths. It's turned shopping into a sport, entertainment into an on-demand service, and information into a double-edged sword of enlightenment and distraction. But let's not forget the real magic of the internet, connecting people. Whether it's finding your long-lost elementary school friend or joining a community of like-minded penguin enthusiasts, the internet has a way of bringing us together, even as we argue over the color of a dress. It was blue and black, by the way. So here's to the internet, the ultimate rabbit hole, a place where curiosity leads to knowledge, knowledge leads to memes, and memes lead to, well, more memes. It's our digital playground, library, and marketplace rolled into one, proving that the world is indeed flat, at least on a screen. If you know other things, I'm waiting for your story in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and let me know if you want the next part. Bye.